and then you share the screen. So who will first speak? Lyra, ikaw na ba?
Si Jaril, sir.
Si Jarel pa rin. Okay, Jarel, take it on. Mag-open camera ka. Game.
Try to look at this picture. What do you think this resembles? If you think this is Europe, you are right. European literature has been known for this significant contribution to the world literature. The outpouring of poems during the late 14th century and toward the middle century were winters such as one of the famous English winters, William Shakespeare, who alone had revolutionized the way poems and plays were written with his unique standards and mastery of his language.
Sir, next. As Romanticism spread to other parts of Europe, it started to become more specific in its approach and invested a concentration on exploring the nation's historical and cultural importance and the struggles of the individuals behind this. So next. Try to answer these 4 picks one word in your mind. If you think it's Germany, you're right. Germany is home to a great number of interesting and rich history narrated by the old-fashioned and colorful architecture, castles, palaces, cathedrals, and monuments, landscapes, mountains, and forests. Sir, next. Jaril.
How to say in German? Hello. How are you? I'm doing well. Thank you. Welcome. Ano na? Ay, aji ka. Hindi ko maaari kaso na. Ikaw na lang. Nibigkas na lang. Hindi na mabubo kami ng siya.
Ano na?
How to say in German? Hallo means hello. Where geht's means how are you? Mir geht's good. I'm doing well. Danke means thank you. Willkommen means welcome. So next. Unlocking vocabulary. Satire means the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices. Three-dimensionals means true to life. Savvy means the ability to make judgment or good judgments. Sir, next. Germany is famous for its castles and one of the most iconic castles in Europe. This resembles the story we are going to present, Candide by Voltaire. Candide, a satirical novel published in 1759 that is the best-known work by Voltaire. Sir, next. Voltaire was a French Enlightenment writer, historian, and philosopher. He is known as one of the great liberal minds of the Enlightenment, known for being practical, witty, charming, contemplative, highly intellectual, and outspoken with a sense of humor. Famous for his attacks on the established Catholic Church, advocacy of freedom of religion, freedom of expression, and separation of church and state. Sir, next. Characters. Candide. Candide is a good-hearted but hopelessly innocent young man. After being banished from the castle, Candide travels the world and meets with variety of misfortunes, all the while pursuing the woman he loves. His faith in Pangloss' undiluted optimism is repeatedly tested. His opinions and actions are determined almost entirely by the influence of outside factors. Sir, next. Pangloss is a philosopher and Candide's tutor. His optimistic belief that this world is the best of all possible worlds is the primary target of the novel's satire. Like Candide, Pangloss is not a three-dimensional character. Instead, he is an exaggerated parody of overly optimistic Enlightenment philosophers. So next. Martin is a cynical scholar whom Candide best befriends as a travel companion. Martin has suffered a great deal in his life and preaches a philosophy of undiluted pessimism, more knowledgeable and intelligent than either Candide or Pangloss. Martin is nonetheless a flawed philosopher because he always expects nothing but the worst from the world. He often has trouble seeing the world as it really is. So next. Cunegonde is the daughter of a German baron who acts as Candide's benefactor. Throughout much of the novel, Cunegonde is young and beautiful. After her father's castle is destroyed in war, a number of exploitative men enslave her or use her as a mistress. Cunegonde returns Candide's love but is willing to betray him for the sake of her own interest. Like him, she is neither intelligent nor complex. Cacambo. Cacambo becomes Candide's valet when Candide travels in South America. Cacambo is highly intelligent and morally honest. He is savvy and single-handedly rescues Candide from a number of scrapes. He is also directly responsible for Candide's reunion with Cunegonde. As a practical man of action, he stands in direct opposition to ineffectual philosophers such as Pangloss and Martin. The old woman was born the daughter of a pope. She becomes Cunegonde's servant. Her misfortunes have made her cynical about human nature, but she does not give in to self-pity. She is wise, practical, and loyal. Though she has often been close to suicide, she always finds a reason to live. The Baron is Cunegonde's brother. After his family's castle is destroyed in wartime, he becomes a Jesuit priest. It is implied numerous times that he has homosexual tendencies. He is arrogant about his family's noble lineage, and though he is fond of the commoner Candide, he refused to allow Candide to marry Cunegonde. Turn next. Jacques is a human Dutch Anabaptist. He cares for the itinerant Candide and Pangloss. Despite his kindness, Jacques is pessimistic about human nature. He drowns in the Bay of Lisbon while trying to save the life of an ungrateful sailor. Paquette. At the beginning of the novel, Paquette is the chambermaid of Cunegonde's mother. She has an affair with Pangloss and gives him syphilis. She eventually turns to prostitution to support herself. Brother Giroflee is one of her clients. In Venice, Candide is moved by Paquette's misery and gives her a large sum of money, which she quickly squanders. Brother, Brother Giroflee is a dissatisfied monk. His parents force him into a monastery to enlarge his brother's fortune. He pays for Paquette's services. Like her, he is miserable and does not get any happier after Candide gives him a large sum of money. Don Fernando is the governor of Buenos Aires. He becomes infatuated with Cunegonde and makes her his mistress despite her engagement to Candide. Don Issachar is a wealthy Jew. He purchases Cunegonde and makes her his mistress. The Grand Inquisitor forced him to share Cunegonde by threatening to burn him alive as a heretic. Candide kills Don Issachar when he interrupts Candide and Cunegonde. Vander Dender is a cruel slave owner and an unscrupulous merchant. After he steals one of Candide's jewel-laden ships, his ship is sunk in a battle. Candide sees his death as a sign that retributive justice is at work in the world. The Grand Inquisitor is an important figure in the Portuguese Catholic Church and represents the hypocrisy of religious leaders. He uses the threat of religious oppression to force the Jew Don Issachar to share Cunegonde with him. Meanwhile, he orders that suspected heretics be burned alive. Candide kills the Inquisitor when the Inquisitor discovers him with Cunegonde. The Abbé is a Paris socialite who cheats Candide out of his money. Plot summary. Rising action. Candide is a very innocent young man living in the castle of the Baron Thunder Ten Tronch in Westphalia. Some of the old servants believe that he is the son of the Baron's sister. The Baron's sister refuses to marry Candide's father because his degree of nobility is less than hers. Candide lacks knowledge of the outside world. He believes that this castle is the best place to live in. He considers it ideal. One day, he and Cunegonde, the Baron's daughter, are seen in romantic positions, so he is kicked and thrown out of the castle. Climax. Candide goes through many adventures, his eyes open to reality. He sees that everything does not happen for the best as Pangloss had told him. He encounters misery. He meets a number of people from various walks of life. Amidst all the turmoil that he faces, he feels life is still worth living in searching for Cunegonde. After a long search of his beloved Cunegonde, they reunited. But Cunegonde's brother is still against her Candide's marriage because he is loyal to traditional beliefs in lineage. Candide is ready to sacrifice anything in order to get Cunegonde. Following action. After a period of uncertainty and boredom, Candide, Cunegonde, Martin, Pangloss, Paquette, the old lady, and Giroflee live on the farm purchased by Candide. They are quite satisfied. From their numerous experiences, they have realized that they must cultivate their own garden. They know by the end of the novel that the only way to happiness is honesty and hard work, and not vague philosophy and baseless illusions. Resolution. The characters abandon philosophy and attempt find peace and salvation from misery. theme, optimism versus reality. Voltaire demonstrates how Pangloss optimism fails to account for random, chaotic events and the needless suffering of others. Comprehension check. What is the danger of too much pessimism?
Jaril, would you mind to answer that?
Ano yun? The danger of too much positive thinking is that you start to believe that everything will work out as it should, even though you are taking no actions to make your dream a reality. People do not do things because they were destined to do them. They achieve them via planning and action. How does Candide finally find happiness? Candide eventually finds happiness in hard work and rejects all questions of good and evil or optimism and pessimism. It is only when Candide gives up adventures in travel, love, and philosophy that he discovers happiness in tending his garden. What does Candide mean when he says we must cultivate our garden? By garden, Voltaire meant a garden, not a field, not the land and task to which we are chained by nature, but the better place we build by love. What can we learn from Voltaire? Freedom and liberation from all the false and unworthy of your love, time, and energy. Sir, next.
Pasa mo na kay Jaril.
Dali daw.
Proverbs 3, 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths.
Do you want to elaborate that first?
Dapat mag-2018 pa. Opo, expired na nga po ito, 2018, so 3 years na nagpasok.
Wala bang extra explanation for Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6?
Yung certificate, ano, so yung medical certificate.
So they have still something to say, group, the last group,
So to be followed,
the last presenters.
so to be followed na yung ano, license.
Lina, they have still something to say.
Hindi ko matulungan po. Tanungin ko sana po sa
Wala na po.
Wala na po, sir.
Okay, sir. So by the way, so you're only 2 presenters for this afternoon. So thank you so much and congratulations for explaining to us, especially in the characters. There are elaborations of characters being told by Miss Glaina. And I hope those who have attended knew them very well now because they have explained the roles being portrayed by each character in that particular story, Candide. Actually, Candide is still part of Module 14, Traversing Europe and Intricacies. Okay, so we have also discovered that in Candide by Voltaire. So it is really important that we value hard work. Okay, because Many times, of course,
Halimbawa,
especially you right now, if your parents are professionals, if your parents have the capacity to buy things for you, so you are blessed. Okay, but there are also people or youth or teenagers like you who haven't have that much. Okay, that's why they rely on hard working or hard work in order for them to survive, to live and be happy. And based from the presentation, we can tell that really hard work is very important nowadays. Okay, because even though you have a lot of money right now, later on, if you will not manage the manual, I believe that you will not going to last in the life's battle, in our life's battle. Okay, that whatever will happen, we should look on the positive side of life. Okay, we should not be like the other character, which is a pessimistic, but rather we should be optimistic. So if you really deal upon the situation in the story, so there are classes. Okay? Since Germany is being told to us in the first slides of their presentation. So Germany is a house of castles, buildings, good buildings, ancient buildings. So we have already a picture of what will gonna happen in the story, okay? Including if we are to look in the picture of Francois Marie Arouet Voltaire, so as if he is part or he was part of a wealthy family or the elite. Okay, that's also what happened in Candide. So at the end part, the lovely Miss Conigan fainted away, and as soon as she came to herself, the Baroness boxed her ears. Thus, a general consternation was spread over this most magnificent and most agreeable of all possible castles. Okay, so I think this is now the last. Actually, while tallying your scores in your presentations, I believe that there is one presentation which is missing. That is why I followed up Miss Sabado if they have already delivered their presentation, and it's a positive that they haven't presented yet. That's why I assume that they will be presenting today, and they have responded positively to the instruction. Okay, so do you have still any queries? So I'm now ending the screen share. Meron po ba tayong mga